Hey everybody, this is Perch. What's Ezra Miller up to? Well, it's this is one of those things where it feels like because so many things are bolted on to this individual and everything else that it starts to get more complicated, and you start to lose track of what feels like a couple very basic things. So, it's important to wind it all back to its core, and you can do this by just removing all of the auxiliary things. So you can just look at the heart of the issue, and then you can add the auxiliary things back in and kind of, decide what you want to do with them. But first of all, who's Ezra Miller? Well, he is the actor who played the Flash in the Snyder Cut, Zack Snyder Justice League. He's also scheduled to have a standalone Flash movie that supposedly is going to have Michael Keaton back as Batman in some kind of multiverse business similar to Spider-Man 3, where it's like, hey, multiverse is new, nostalgia is old. If we put those two things together, people will give us money, and it seems to work. So, I look forward to what kind of awful multiverse franchises can we get into? I don't know. It's going to be bad wherever we go. Like poorly remembered 70s and 80s shows suddenly mashed up with current show. I don't know. Anyway, it is what it is. Ezra Miller has had a bit of an odd run of various escapades, let's say. But the latest is he is in Hawaii for some reason. Let's assume tan and beach. And the first problem seemed to come in, or I don't know. At any rate, he appeared in a karaoke bar where he yelled obscenities and grabbed a microphone from a singing woman and lunged at a man playing darts, which, in fairness, feels sort of like your average night at a karaoke bar. But that's at least that's how it's been for me. Man, Hawaii is a popular destination in many cases for people in Japan because when you want to get away from your island country, you want to go to an island. No, that's not fair. Very different region, of course. But I kind of imagine that here's some Japanese vacationers, enjoying their karaoke experience there, and suddenly they see the guy who plays the Flash show up and start lunging for darts. That's got to be comical on multiple levels. But anyway, so he did this, and then and he was asked to calm down, but he would not. So then later he was arrested and given a disorderly conduct charge and released on bail. And that happened. And then a couple filed a restraining order against Miller, who said that he basically got into their bedroom somehow while in Hawaii and stole their belongings, including their money, their wallet, and a passport. And there's enough evidence to suggest this was true. The judge did grant a restraining order to prevent harassment. What's going on there? Nobody understands, but there you go. So these are the facts, as they say. So basically, if we're boiling this down to its simplest explanation, it is Ezra Miller goes to Hawaii on vacation, gets on something. Who knows? He's some kind of behavior. I've had a lot to drink, and I haven't gone to steal any passports that I can remember. Am I right? But anyway, something went on. He became a jackass and did various bad things, breaking and entering, theft. I don't know what exactly you call the crime of stealing a microphone away from the woman. I mean, did we ask if the woman was singing really poorly? Because she might have been. But anyway, it's a general celebrity shenanigans that I'm not trying to downplay it when I say that word. But what is the right word to package up a bunch of drunk, disorderly mayhem that is going on from Miller? Okay, so that's what's happened. So the consequence of that is that people are calling for Miller to be removed from the Flash. Some people are saying that these actions are the final nail in the coffin of Warner Media, and that it's going to take the entire company down. Let's come on now. Don't be weird. That's too far. I don't know. I don't know why in the world you would think that. Because here's the thing: celebrities acting like jackasses and doing various, lightweight or sometimes more than lightweight criminal activity, um, has not stopped anything before, and that's not exactly the most rare scenario that has gone on. This is it's happened enough that we've seen it before. Hell, at the Oscars, I believe we witnessed a well, I call it an assault, but you have to actually hit hard for it to be an assault, right? I don't know. Um, so I mean, there's right there on the stage, you get one actor going up and smacking another and yelling obscenities. Which, I mean, if you're really comparing apples to apples, it sounds like that may have been more physically aggressive than what Miller did in Hawaii. So I'm not saying this to excuse anything Miller did. I think that's jackass behavior, and I always look at it from the standpoint of if it was you or me doing that kind of stuff, would we be released on $500 bond? Probably. I don't know, maybe, but anyway, it would the sentence be as light? Would we have a bunch of people still clamoring for us to appear in the movie? So there's this war going on now about should he be pulled from the movie or not pulled from the movie. I think you could make an argument he should be pulled from the movie because I thought his version of Flash sucked, but that's a whole different gauge than what we're talking about here. So uh, the don't pull him from the movie crowd, the no you can't do this, has immediately, and this is where that's the basics. So in my mind, it goes like this: jackass celebrity does jackass things. Court action pending based on, I guess, the breaking and entering and the theft. And should he remain in the movie or not? And the answer, my answer would be simply, I think that these are two separate things. So I would prefer that the justice system, meaning the police and the courts, take care of criminal activity and decide on jail time or not jail time, and the movie studios take care of can we sell movie tickets. And if they believe that Ezra Miller is going to, make them $1 billion, then I think, and Ezra Miller is not in jail, again, I think they can do what they want. Some people have compared this situation to Johnny Depp, saying, well, is it fair that Johnny Depp was pulled based on the allegations with Amber Heard and all this kind of stuff? And I give you the same answer. I think if the movie studios believe that Johnny Depp can make them $1 billion, they should keep hiring Johnny Depp unless Johnny Depp is in jail. That's my general standpoint. I like the criminal activity over here, the movie activity over here. I am not in favor of the movie studios trying to, say, well, you did something over here, and so we can't have you in the movie. Now, that's a simple statement to make, but of course it's more complicated than that. So take the Will Smith, Chris Rock situation. Chris Rock's not charging Will Smith for assault. Didn't look like he was even bruised, but anyway. Could he have? I mean, I don't know. He had the photo evidence of it. I don't know. Maybe. But the Academy's going to, make some things made, and then, movie studios may be reluctant to work with Will Smith. Now, I bet they still will, because I think in their minds, Will Smith still makes them a lot of money. So, they're going to keep working with him. So again, if we're looping this all the way back around, and you notice it's all getting messier the more things I add to it. What about Johnny Depp? Well, I think what the studios decided with Johnny Depp was that, hey, there's this allegation of, abuse toward women that was floating around, and they didn't want to be tied to it. And they didn't know, they were so worried about being tied to it, they didn't even want to fully vet it out to see if it was true or not. It may have been true, may have not been true. Maybe both people abused each other. Who knows what exactly went on there? And I guess maybe that will be figured out someday. But the studios basically decided we're worried that if we hire him, we won't make the $1 billion because enough people will protest or be angry or say we're working with people who abuse women. And we have plenty of people who abuse women in our studio, but they're producers and the people who raise the money, and nobody knows about them, so it's okay. So but Johnny Depp, they know that name. I think the studio's miscalculated in the sense that I don't believe there was enough out there. There was definitely Twitter outrage, but this is an example where the movie studio believed that Twitter anger over Johnny Depp was going to translate to lost ticket sales. And I think this is one of those evidence, when we get the book years from now of the myth that Twitter mattered, this will be one of the chapters of, it probably didn't matter at all. The people who are like, I will never support your movie again. Yep, I'll bet you do. I'm, it's there's a lot of people holding their nose and really angry at J.K. Rowling right now. But weirdly, she's put out books and they seem to be selling, and not just selling in like the red states where people don't like the LGBT community. The latest one she put out sold best in the same markets it always sells best in, which is the big metropolitan areas, the blue states. So are people mad at J.K. Rowling? I mean, some people are, but it doesn't seem to be translating to sales. And this is where it gets back to, with Johnny Depp, pretty sure they could have put him in a movie and it would have been just fine for sales. But the studios decided it wasn't worth the risk, and that's what they did. Maybe they'll do the same thing with Ezra Miller, but the reality is, and people are not going to like this statement, from a risk perspective, a movie studio is basically saying, the allegations of spousal abuse worry us more than the allegations of a guy running around conducting drunken, disorderly stupidity on Hawaii during his vacation. Is that fair? No, but there you go. There you go. In the battle of perception, nobody's going to take this Ezra Miller thing seriously. The other part to this battle, of course, is that Ezra Miller is the LGBTQ community is saying that if you basically fire Ezra Miller, then you are basically enacting violence against the LGBT community. He's been outspoken about. I think he's what is he pansexual? Is that what he's been? His gender identity is fluid, I believe. He's a gender bending star of Hollywood, and he's been not a poster child exactly, but for the non-binary community, he's been one of the bigger stars, I guess, is the way to put it. And so people are putting that into this as well, saying, "Oh, well, the people who want to cancel him are only wanting to cancel him because they want a non-binary actor out of the mix." I guess I just am realizing I'm saying him all this time. I should say they. I thought he was pan. I thought there was some other. Anyway, Ezra Miller. I'm doing my best here, folks. So I think that's a red herring and a distraction. I think that has nothing to do with anything in terms of should he, shouldn't he, all the rest. That's just people wanting to perpetuate the argument. That gets back to this Twitter nonsense of, people care about your feelings one way or the other, and that should translate to pulling people on or off movies. But this is what's so. This is going on. My belief, whether they do anything about it or not, is this is the conversation that's currently going on at the studio. They're saying, "Hey, Ezra Miller is not exactly lighting up Hollywood with how, as a box office draw. He was in those Harry Potter films. He was, he's an actor with a name, but he's not. This isn't somebody who's going to guarantee $1 billion in the box office. However, if we fire him off the film, we're going to be called bigots. So, is there a way to quietly just kind of get out of this one? Now, the interesting part is, and this is the tipping point, is the Flash movie that will include, multiverse characters like Michael Keaton as Batman and other characters that, will generate some nostalgia, is likely to do fairly well, assuming the movie-going audience is not entirely tired of multiverse films by then. So the Flash is actually pretty pivotal for Ezra Miller's career. If it makes a lot of money, it's at least more likely to cement him as potentially a star that can get things done. But it's a long shot. It's kind of in my mind. I think maybe this may be the let's say the last. This is the last big attempt to promote him as a $1 billion movie star. The Justice League was high profile, but didn't exactly do it. His role wasn't the most celebrated in that film, I guess is the best way to put it. And he's done, I said, other things. He was in the Harry Potter franchise, the Fantastic Beasts thing, but that also didn't make massive amount of money. And the whole Harry Potter franchise is a little bit confused right now. He was in that The Stand show, which didn't get a whole lot of attention. Anyway, he's out there, and I think they would really like Miller to happen, but it hasn't. It just hasn't really kicked in just yet. So anyway, I am seeing now as I'm reading this that I should be referring to Ezra Miller as they them. So there you go. If you're curious about the pronouns, there they are. So will Miller be canceled out of this movie? My guess is no. I think they're going to keep working with him. They're going to keep working with Miller, and people will complain that this is unfair because they got rid of Depp. And generally speaking, most of these movies are not going to make a lot of money, and the world will somehow go on. But there you go. So I'm having a hard time. So I have a hard time caring about all aspects of this. I do believe that at some point the studios are going to remember that Johnny Depp actually makes a lot of money and people seem to like to watch him on the screen. And if anything, he was a little bit overexposed, and maybe a couple of years off is going to, help reignite some of his mystique. And they're going to be like, I think people are tired of this, and they're going to do a film with Depp, and that will, he'll be back on the screen, and he'll make a lot of money, more money than Miller will make, and life will go on. A handful of people will complain that, hey, don't you remember that thing we were angry about on Twitter? But by like 2023, 2024, a lot of companies will be like, yeah, we remember, but we don't care because you don't matter, and then life will move on. Miller, I think they're going to keep him on Flash, and I think it will make some money, but it will basically make less than half of what Spider-Man 3 made. The studio will see that as a failure, and they'll go back to the drawing board about what in the hell they're supposed to do with DC movies, and we'll see a new Flash emerge sometime in the next 8 to 10 years. And that's pretty much all you got. Anyway, let me know your thoughts below. What do you think of all this? And thanks for listening.